Hello students, Professor Watts here. Today we're going to continue our review of the principles of microeconomics with a brief overview of the price system. Now the price system was the core content, the core focus of microeconomics. So we want to just kind of refresh our memory as to what we learned in micro before we delve into the new material in macro. So let's start by reviewing our core principles we talked about in the last lecture. And these you'll recall were scarcity. Scarcity means there's not enough of any good to satisfy all possible human uses for it. And scarcity means that we have to make decisions about what we're going to do because we can't have everything. Most importantly, scarcity implies the concept of trade-offs and opportunity cost. If I do activity A, I can't do activity B as well because I just don't have enough time to pursue both of those things. Or if I choose to pursue a certain project, I can't pursue other projects. If I choose to use my resources towards one end, I can't use them toward other ends. So a central concept in all of economics is trade-offs and opportunity costs. And we're thinking about how people respond to scarcity. That implies the concept of how people can systematically reckon with the trade-offs and opportunity costs we face in our daily lives in a way that maximizes the attainment of the ends we're seeking. In other words, in a way that gives us wealth and prosperity as much as is possible. And we also have the idea that people are self-interested and rational. This is what makes human beings unique, and this is why we even have economics, because we can think through our problems and we can prioritize and plan and be very thoughtful about these trade-offs and opportunity costs. The most important implication of rationality combined with self-interest is that people respond to incentives, meaning a structure of rewards and penalties that motivates our behavior. So we can think about creating particular incentives in order to get people to do kind of more productive things for one another and to try to limit the pain that scarcity imposes on us. And then we can also think about an overarching system for the entire economy that operates to discover and adjust incentive mechanisms on an ongoing basis to discover the best way of motivating people to be productive members of a broader society, which we'll call the economy. So to summarize, given the situation we all face as people, which is scarcity, and given our kind of basic behavioral postulate that people are at core self-interested and rational, we'll talk about how we compare trade-offs and measure costs and develop an economic system that allows us to do this most effectively, most efficiently. We'll talk also about where incentives come from, and as I mentioned, how we can kind of craft a system of incentives that works best so the economic system can achieve prosperity. So the main theme when we talk about incentives is going to be the price system. Prices, we like to say, are information wrapped in incentives. What's the information content of prices? Well, prices basically tell us how scarce a particular product is. We remember that all goods are scarce, but some goods are more scarce than others. So prices indicate just how scarce any good is relative to all other goods. And as we watch prices change, we're basically watching a product become more or less scarce. And that price is going to be a signal to us to either use more or less of a product. As a product becomes less scarce, its price goes down. The price is a signal to you that says go ahead and use more of this, if possible. If a price goes up, that's telling you, hey, this product is becoming more scarce. See if you can get by with using less of it. Now onto the incentive aspect of prices. What are we trying to achieve in life? Well, we all want more, right? We want the most and best in whatever field we're looking at: housing, clothing, entertainment, education, love, care. So we have to make decisions with that in mind. We have to make decisions about how we're going to spend our time and resources, how we're going to dedicate ourselves towards trying to accomplish as much as we can. Well, prices are going to be crucial in this process because they help us discover optimal production and consumption patterns. In other words, how should I use my scarce resources? Starting with my own life, right? Myself, my time, my labor, my energy. What job should I do? What should I create? If I'm a business, what product or service should I create? Prices are going to be a crucially important factor in making those decisions. And then over on the consumption side, as a consumer, what should I use and buy? What should I do without? Well, prices also help me make those decisions because I go shopping, I go to the store, I go online to buy things, and I say, well, I've got so much money to spend, I could have this product or that product, and then I can bundle my consumption appropriately based on what I can afford as revealed by the prices I face. Okay, so let's move up a level and we'll talk about how prices order the entire economy. And we call the economy a spontaneous order, the market-based system. That means it happens without planning or encouragement from some central authority. There's no top-down organization or planning for the entire economy. It emerges spontaneously out of the millions and millions of individual decisions that we all make on a daily basis. In other words, no one is in charge of the economy in a market system. It just happens. It just kind of happens on its own through individuals' actions. As a consumer, you are free to choose what to buy, of course within your budget. You can't necessarily afford all the things you dream of, but with the money you have, you go and choose out what kind of house you're going to live in, what kind of food you're going to eat every day, what kind of clothes you'll wear, what kind of car you drive, and so on. Nobody's telling you what to do. Nobody's telling you, ordering you to consume a certain pattern of goods. Likewise, as a worker, or if you run a business as an entrepreneur, you're free to choose your job or the kind of business you run. Now, of course, there's limits on this too. You can't choose any job. I can't just decide to be an astronaut. I've got to be qualified and then selected for that. So there's some pretty tight constraints on this, but still I can decide, if I want to be in construction, for example, I can decide, do I want to be a carpenter or a drywaller or a plumber? And then I can decide where in the country I might want to go to live to pursue that work. And that can be on the basis of things like, well, where does my family live? What place has a nice climate? What place has affordable housing? A lot of it, though, is going to be based on prices. Where can I make more money? And you'll see and hear stories of this. It's very common. People will choose to go to a different part of the country because whatever profession or vocation they pursue, they can earn more going somewhere else. So prices are guiding us in terms of what to do and where to go and how to live. Okay, so a bit more on this concept of spontaneous order. If we can all decide production and consumption decisions for ourselves in a free economy, well, how can it be smoothly functioning? Because it might seem like that's a chaotic process. Nobody knows what's going on. It seems like it might be difficult or impossible for businesses to be able to plan how to meet the demands of people when there's no central organization. Well, actually, the price system will provide the organizing in the order of the entire economy. And that's kind of the subject of Micro, is to investigate how that happens. And to summarize, I have this motto: prices coordinate. Prices themselves, which is a system of, as I've mentioned, information and incentives, and the fact that prices change over time and reveal changes in information and then alter people's incentive structure. These prices do the planning and do the organizational function of the economy. So prices, and as I said, price changes in particular, guide people's decisions. As prices change, as you go to the store, prices of different products you might like change, you will correspondingly change your buying habits in a very predictable way. The price of something I like to buy goes up, I switch to another product. The price of something goes down, I think about buying more of it. So what's affordable? Well, that's kind of a subjective question. It depends on your individual tastes and your willingness to spend, but it's going to be relative to prices that you face. Same thing for businesses. What should businesses produce? Well, prices show them what's profitable, what earns them income. And profits, of course, we'll talk more about this very soon, is on the basis of comparing two sets of prices. Businesses look at the prices they can earn from the product they sell, then they compare that to the prices they have to pay for the resources, land, labor, and capital used to produce those products. And then profit is just the differential, revenue minus expenses. But that's all based on prices and price changes. And as prices change for the products businesses sell or the materials they need to produce their product, businesses will change their production patterns as well in a very predictable way. So we can summarize: prices generate a constant and ongoing adjustment process. When prices move up and down, people change their buying habits and production decisions accordingly, and that keeps the economy going in a organized and productive and efficient manner. The adjustment process driven by price changes. So what we're interested in moving forward here is learning all about prices, how they are formed, why they change. So let's kind of recap. Prices are information, incentives, and then finally we'll add one more thing here: innovation. There's an important aspect of the price system that gives us innovation, growth, creativity in the economy. Prospect of earning money, you earn wages as a worker or you earn profits as an entrepreneur, is a huge incentive for people in business, entrepreneurs, to develop new products and new ways of producing goods. And we'll talk about this as well. competition in the economy is going to eventually eat away at the money people can make. And so to continually achieve high rates of return on your investment, or high earnings as a person, there's a tremendous incentive, or even you might say a pressure, to try to come up with better ways of doing things, new products, new services, new, more efficient production methods. So this is all built into the price system as well. And then innovation, new technologies, new goods and services, new methods will be the ultimate source of economic growth and change over time, which is what we're interested in terms of having prosperity, having ongoing increases in people's standard of living. So that's a brief overview of the price system, and we'll spend about another week or so kind of unpacking the idea of where prices come from, which hopefully you'll remember from micro is supply and demand. So we'll pick up there in the next couple lectures. See you soon.